Hey everyone, and welcome to Screams After Midnight. I am Peter, that is Tim. We talk about horror movies on this show, and on this episode, we picked something a little bit more random, a bit more different, a bit more older, because I feel like we were looking at what to do this week, and we said, okay, right, so we had the little movie picked, we've done that, that's fine, and we're like, what should we pick? And I feel like we very rarely went pre-70s. And I don't think we've ever went to the 40s. So we picked a movie that neither of us had seen from the 40s, just off a horror movie kind of list. And we thought, let's do that. Let's do something random. Let's be wild. Let's pick a wild card. And we settled on The Night Has Eyes, which is actually a British movie from 1942. So we'll start spoiler free, as we always do. And we'll go into spoilers in a little bit. So the plot of The Night Has Eyes is that two young teachers, Marianne and Doris, go travelling to the Yorkshire countryside, to the moors, because their co-worker Evie died there a year earlier. She went missing and was presumed dead, and they're going there to check it out. But they end up getting sort of like stormed. The storm comes and they're out in the moors and they're all kind of trapped, and they basically seek shelter in this old house, this big old house. And the character there, Stephen, is a little bit weird, a little bit eccentric, and the movie basically becomes a bit of a kind of romance, kind of, does he have something to do with the disappearance of this girl from a year before? And it goes from there, and that's kind of the movie. Tim, did you enjoy The Night Has Eyes?
No, no, not at all. This movie fucking sucked, dude. Yeah. First of all, not a horror movie. Definitely not a horror movie.
Yeah, I'll agree that. I mean, obviously it was listed as a horror movie, which is why we picked it. If this had just said no, it's a bit of a thriller with elements, then
to be at the time there was like two categories of movies. It was either like horror or a train coming at the screen. So they probably felt that this fit into that more. But
to be fair,
no.
It sounds like a horror movie.
Yeah.
The Night Has Eyes. You're out in the moors. It's nighttime. There's, it's misty.
There's a lot of mist and fog. But second of all, I had no goddamn clue what was going on in this movie. Two reasons. One, I just thought it was super boring, and this isn't the movie's fault, but I was also super tired when I was watching it, so not on them, but it definitely didn't help. But then two, maybe I have bad hearing. Maybe it was I was watching on my computer. Maybe my computer doesn't sound good or something. But I could barely understand what the way they were talking, because it has like that old kind of like Hollywood tinny sound stagey sound to it.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean? Like everyone sounds like they're kind of far away, but also speaking into a speaker at the same time.
I actually was listening to it with headphones because, the audio mix isn't the greatest.
That probably would have helped.
Yeah, I recommend, and in future too, I recommend headphones for such an occasion, because you can turn them up a little bit and you can hear them a bit more clearly. I actually thought you were going to complain about the accents there, and I thought you were going to say the accents were.
I mean, maybe I couldn't hear him enough, but
yeah.
But no, it's just and I don't want to sound like a dude that's like, oh, I don't like old movies, I don't like black and white movies, because I mean that's not true. Like we gushed about our love for the Universal monster movies. Like I love that stuff, but this was just super boring. There's just nothing like about it that engaged me at all, aside from the monkey, which I think they said it's not a monkey, it's a cappuccino or something, but I'm pretty sure it's still a monkey.
A cappuccino's not a monkey.
They said like cappuccino or something.
I was just cracking the joke, Tim, because the first time he said it, I thought he said cappuccino, and I'm like, what? Did they not have cappuccino in the 40s? They're using it for a monkey?
I think maybe did they mean capuchin? Because that's a type of monkey. I don't know.
Maybe it was just the guy's accent that was covering up a little bit. Well, that was a lot of hate flowing from Tim's side of the screen there. I do not hate it like Tim did. I wouldn't say I didn't love it. It's for me, this is kind of a very typical kind of pot boiler, like a nice little 1940s like time waster. I would say I wouldn't say don't watch it. It's this kind of movie where I'd be like,
I would.
I would say no. Like if you want to put something on while you're making dinner and you've got it on the little TV or the tablet next to where you're cooking, that is the perfect kind of movie to put on because you'll follow it just fine, and it'll be glorious. And Tim has paused at the most smug smile he could possibly have whilst his internet's freaking out, and that's amazing. Which, I mean, audio folk won't even see that, but it was glorious. Just let me tell you, it was glorious. So yeah, no, I like. I thought it was okay. I thought there was some interesting ideas. A couple of characters were okay. It was a little bit melodramatic. It felt a bit soapy at times with the whole, oh, I love him. I think I love him, and he's like, you can't love me. I'm this, I'm that.
I'm a creepy piano playing douchebag. You can't love me.
Yeah. I like the ending though. The last 10 minutes I thought was pretty solid.
Sure. I don't know. I just was so not invested in it. It's a short movie. It's not like it's super long, but yeah, I mean, I guess things do ramp up a little bit by the end, but
yeah, 79 minutes I believe was the runtime. So
yeah, But yeah, I just didn't care by that point.
Also, I should mention this has got alternate titles. What are the other titles that people may know it as? It's also known quite commonly as Moonlight Madness and Terror House. Again, all sound like horror movies. So
yeah.
you can't blame us for picking one that's not really that much of a horror movie. There's the odd moment. There's we're not spoilers yet. Okay, full spoilers for The Night Has Eyes. I don't think there's too much. There's a twist at the end, which obviously would be a spoiler to give up, but I feel like the rest of it's pretty straightforward. So there's there's a scene where she's climbing into the secret room in the house and she finds a skeleton. That's kind of a horror little scene. Obviously the ending when they're out in the moors and all that, that's a bit more horror-esque, but for the most part it's more of a slow kind of thriller where he might be this murdering lunatic, but it's more about, it reminds me much more of something like Hitchcock's Rebecca. It's not as good as Hitchcock's Rebecca, that's not, make any bold claims, but it reminds me a lot more of something like that, where she's in the house and she's looking for clues as to what this guy really is, who he really is he actually this deranged madman? I'm actually kind of, what I'll complain about the characters though, I actually can't believe it takes her as long as it does to think that maybe he might have something to do with the disappearance of her friend a year ago. Like, for half the movie she doesn't even seem to entertain that idea, and then when it's brought up she's like, oh no, it can't be, oh no, I must.
I've known him for half a day. He would have never have done that.
Yeah. Yeah, and of course it sets up the characters in such a way where her friend who disappeared, she leaves because she doesn't want to stay around after a day or two once she can leave. But she's like this really flirty woman who wants to talk to all the men. She's like, why did we pick the ladies only cabin? I want to meet men. I like men. Men.
I liked her at least. I guess maybe because she actually, I actually felt like she had somewhat of a character. There's something about her that I can latch onto, and she was kind of funny. Just the way she was very flirty and boisterous.
Well, I think the main Mary Ann, I think she had some character too, because she was the one who didn't want to do all that. So I think kind of what it was doing with the main romance, it was no, she doesn't like regular people. She likes this guy because he's weird. This is what she's attracted to. So I liked that setup of it. It's just the romance once it got going wasn't really that. It basically kept boiling down to her saying, "Oh, let's be a couple. I like you. I love you. Let's do this." And then he'd be like, "No, it can't be done. It's crazy. Yeah, crazy. You must leave at once. You must leave at once. Damn it."
Have you seen our monkey?
Yeah, and eventually, he comes out with the idea that at a full moon, I almost thought it was going to turn into a werewolf movie because people started talking about the full moon. But apparently he kills people, or he kills animals and potentially people when it's a full moon. That sort of triggers his mental break. But the big twist at the end of the movie, though, so obviously we're in full spoilers here, is that the nurse who looks after him, who was because he was away at war, he came back, he was shell shocked, had PTSD, and she was nursing him. And the groundskeeper who's there, who's this sort of guy with a mustache, who's kind of goofy at first. He's the one with the monkey. But they're kind of around. And the big twist at the end is that they're actually the ones who are killing people. They're actually drugging this guy with pills that he thinks is medication to get better, so that he'll pass out. They'll kill someone or something, and then make him think it was him that did it. So that he thinks he's crazy enough to stay secluded in this house in the middle of nowhere, so they can sort of reap all of his benefits and get all of his money and everything else. And that's kind of the idea. What I liked about this though is that once this came up, I actually thought the woman who plays what's her name? Oh, I don't know. But anyway, Mrs. Ranger.
Marianne? Oh.
No, Mrs. Ranger, the nurse.
The nurse.
Yeah, when they actually reveal that she's the one behind it, like I thought the actress did some really good creepy little things. Like the way she was acting, I thought was quite good. But clearly you were not impressed as much as I was with that.
Well, I mean, again, just when it comes down to it, like I just could not have cared less. Like at that point, it's like too little, too late. When you talk about those story elements to it, those aren't bad, and it actually does kind of make me wonder, if maybe a remake might be kind of interesting.
It might be. It's always funny. I think the reason why I picked this was when I read the description, it sounded a little bit different. It sounded like, oh, there's a murderer out on the moors, so they have to hide in this house in the middle of nowhere with this stranger. And that sounded really cool to me. I was like, oh, that sounds good. And that's kind of what's going on, but it's not really the focus of the movie. It's more of this, this woman wants to, be with this guy, and he's like, no. And it's more about why is he saying no, and kind of exploring that. But it's definitely, for the most of the movie, it's not really a horror movie. That is absolutely true. I agree with that assessment.
And have you ever seen, I think it's called Dementia 13?
I've not. I've heard good things. I do. So don't you dare spoil a thing.
No. Yeah. Well, it's just, I mean, the only thing that kind of reminds me of it is just the look and the setting of it. It's in black and white, also very foggy. I want to say it takes place in the moors. I could be wrong, but it's, if not exactly that, then it's a similar place. But that was a movie I actually did enjoy. Yeah.
Look at the turn of the knife. That's a movie I actually did enjoy. I didn't love this. Like I don't like. For me, I think it falls into more of like a. It's just a sort of mediocre kind of in the middle with a couple of nice little moments. Whereas you're on like outright like displeasure. You're like, no, this bored the shit out of me.
My time is precious. I could have been playing Resident Evil or reading The Stand, all stuff that I wanted to do much more than watch this movie.
Hey Tim, this was kind of a random pick. We could have hit gold with this pick. It turns out the movie we picked was,
it was a dud, not a stud.
Sure.
I mean, if you are a classic cinephile, like if you love these kind of like old like classic era Hollywood crime noir films, I'm sure this would be right up your alley. Like I don't want to say that it has no merit, no one should ever watch it. Just for me personally, definitely not my kind of movie.
Okay.
Except for the monkey. I'll always go for the monkey.
Yeah, there's a hint.
This character who ends up dying.
There's a hint early on actually that the groundskeeper actually might be partly responsible for what's going on, because he sneaks into her bedroom when she's sleeping and like sort of like hovers over her, and then he's like, "Oh, I'm just looking for my monkey." Like, and I'm like, I don't know, that was a bit creepy, dude. I feel like
it's every dude's excuse.
Yeah, it does have I would say it suffers from obviously everything but on a sound stage. Like even when they're out in the moors, you kind of get this fake feeling to it. It's kind of fabricated. You can just sort of see they've made this on a stage rather than actually being out. I mean, not that I expect them to necessarily sink into the moors like someone does at the end of the movie.
So again, I could not tell you a lot about what happened in this movie, but so their friend did actually end up dying. Right?
Oh yeah, basically she also fell in love with the main character the year previous and wanted to bring doctors to come and check him out, but of course that would ruin their scam, so these two nefarious characters murdered her themselves and threw her in the bog somewhere to sink into the mud.
Makes sense.
Sure. Yeah, I guess it does. Yeah, like. I think it never really gets into a really fascinating level. I think what it chooses to focus on with the romance is kind of the last thing that I wanted it to kind of do with the movie, with the plot. You know, when I read the base synopsis, it never mentioned like this love story that was going to end up being the majority of the runtime. And it's not the worst love story ever, but it's also it's got that kind of old movie thing where people are saying they're in love after a day of knowing someone. Because even like the doctor they run into on the way there when they're on the train, like he shows up later to like help and like check the guy out, and he's like, "Oh, I think I love you." I know that's strange because we only met like once a few days ago, but any chance for us crazy kids to get together? So it does that thing. It's one of those things in old movies where people want to get married after being together a week, because. I don't know.
Audiences didn't have a lot of time. They couldn't wait 2 more movies to find these characters finally getting married.
Yeah, that's something to be said about realism. But no, I think it's fine. There's nothing that particularly stands out about it. Like I don't think outside of some of the mirrors themselves, the shots of that stuff. Like, there's not a lot of great cinematography per se. It's very sort of by the numbers, very sort of basic. Which, to be fair, a lot of movies at the time period, even good ones, were. But like that's the sort of thing that might elevate it, given that the plot's not that particularly exciting for the majority of the movie. Like that's the sort of thing that could bring it back up, but it kind of doesn't. Instead, you're left with whether or not you like these characters. And well, I think there's some okay setup early on with sort of like comparing her to her friend and how she's different. And setting up what why it's kind of for her it's a big deal that she actually likes a guy because she seems to not like any men, so for her she's found the one. But oh no, he might be a deranged killer.
He might have moonlight madness.
That's why they called the movie that in certain places. Very good, Tim. Very good.
I was mad that there wasn't a scene where they go outside and it's like pitch black and then you just see all these eyes floating in the dark. That's what I was kind of mad. Like I was kind of positive that we would get that at some point.
Oh, interesting. There's a list here of notable moorlands. Would you like a list of where the prominent moors are on the planet?
Sure, why not?
Bunch of countries in Africa: Ethiopia, Kenya, Rwanda, Sudan, Tanzania, and Uganda. And then Europe: Austria, Belgium, Germany. And the UK, and then South America, Argentina, Chile, and Colombia all have moorlands. So we've learned something today. We've learned something.
They forgot one major one. Your asshole.
I don't even know what that means, Tim.
Neither do I.
I mean, maybe if like, do you think after Alan Moore has sex with someone, he just looks down at you and goes, "That's Moorland now."
Oh, I'm without a doubt he must have said that at least once.
At least once in his life, sure. I get it. Dear. Yeah. Obviously, I think Moors in terms of stories are used more typically in this type of story. It always tends to be the Hounds of the Baskerville, the Sherlock Holmes story. That's got a lot of Moors in it, and then you got various things like that. So it's always that kind of thing. Use it for atmosphere.
Yeah.
Are we done? Do we have nothing else to say about this movie? I feel like we don't.
Not really.
Oh, I'm so sorry we picked this movie, guys, because I don't think it's that bad. Like, I don't think it's as bad as Tim thinks it is, but like, I'm sorry because there's nothing to talk about with
it. To be fair, it's not like we have a list of movies that people want us to do. Like, it's hard for us to find movies.
But we do, Tim. It's called The Crypt, which our patrons submit to. And we'll get to that. Next time we've got a free slot, we're going to pick a movie from The Crypt. Which is not next week, because next week we have 2 things that are planned. So, but the week after that, unless there's not a new film that sneaks up on us, we should probably fit a Crypt movie in. But Tim was jesting. Look, I wanted to pick something from the past. I wanted to do an old movie, and maybe it didn't work out. Okay.
I feel like this is when you have like an old married couple who like they feel like the love just draining from their relationship, and then one of them tries to do something exciting, so like, oh, I signed us up for like a dancing class, and then the other one just like hates it and is like, why'd you even make us do this? This is so stupid. We could have just stayed home and did what we always do. It's like, I wanted to try something new, something different. That's what this is.
I tried to do something nice for us, Tim.
Well, you shouldn't have tried.
Something different. I don't want the same thing every week, Want to dig into a classic, maybe, or at least a movie from that classic era. Something that went unseen, something that went unknown, that wasn't talked about a lot. Like, anyone can pick Dracula. Like, anyone can pick that movie, but I thought, no, let's do something that no one really talks about from the 40s or 30s. Let's do that. And maybe it didn't work out. Maybe we spent most of this review talking about other things and making fun of the fact that we have nothing to talk about. That is absolutely true. But, still, it is what it is.
It was a good effort. I think it's one of our best episodes we've ever done. I liked it. I actually like the movie. It's not... Now just think about the monkey. What?
Oh dear. Well, I guess we'll rate it out of 10. Like, if we're at that point, Tim, what would you rate this out of 10?
So I just want to emphasize again that if you're a classic, movie buff kind of person, you love old timey Hollywood and these the black and white film with the tinny soundstage voices and blah blah blah, all that kind of crap, then sure, you'll probably love this movie. Whatever. That's not necessarily my bag, and so for that reason, I give this baby a 2. That's right.
What? Whoa! That's like Green Inferno level. No, that's bullshit. That is absolute bullshit.
It gets like 1 point for a monkey, and
that is complete bullshit of a score. That does not make any sense whatsoever. It's not that bad.
Sticking by it.
Oh no, that is travesty level. That is this idiot couldn't hold the camera in the right direction levels. Like,
well, that's why I didn't get a 1. Like, I couldn't.
Oh, Tim. Okay. I'm going to be a little bit more kind than that was. I'm going to give it a nice, solid 5.5.
Oof.
I think it's just a couple of nice little ideas, a couple of nice little moments, but otherwise it's pretty mediocre, which should probably fall in the middle of the scale, which would be a 5. Bump up a half a point for a couple of little moments. That's where it is. That's all it is. It's competent. And competent does not get a 2.
It does for this guy.
I'll be giving you a number 2 in a minute if you don't watch it.
There isn't a lot for me to grasp on here, so I have to kind of just go on a purely like enjoyment, what I felt in my heart level, and I feel like this is a tour. It's a tour from the moor.
Like The Boy.
No. Boy is great. Boy has tension. Boy has characterization. Boy has revelations. This does not have that.
I had revelations when you told me like The Boy. Jesus.
I can pick 2 people up off the street and lock them in a room and make them watch this movie and The Boy back to back, and I guarantee you they will like The Boy better, and then I will let them go.
All you have to do, I know I've kidnapped you, but all you have to do is watch these 2 movies and tell me which one you prefer. But what happens to him if they say like Night Has Eyes better?
Once they confirm that they like The Boy better, then I will let them go.
Sam, I'm starting to worry you might be a serial killer. I've started to suspect suspect it.
Well, we all suffer from moonlight madness every now and again.
I was watching Mindhunter on Netflix, and that's set in the 70s, and it was when they were kind of like first putting together the idea of what a serial killer is personality wise, and how you kind of spot the signs and all that kind of thing. And I'm not gonna lie, Tim, there was a lot of it where I was like, this is making me think of Tim. I feel like if there's one person I know who might secretly be murdering and butchering people and then doing God knows what to the corpses, it's Tim. It's Tim.
Well, it's nice to be thought of. So.
Tim kidnaps people off the street. He kidnaps the co-eds off the street and just makes them watch The Boy with them. And then, depending on their reaction, they may or may not get killed. I think that's what happens.
That'd be a very interesting serial killer.
Especially the ones who you let go because they like The Boy. It's like,
yeah.
Well, why did they let you go? It's like, I said I like this really bad movie called The Boy. and then
the reporter's like, oh, but wasn't that a good movie? And he's like, oh yeah, you're right.
Oh, because that's what the reporter's thinking, yeah, in this moment. And then Tim hears this on the news that she said it wasn't actually that good, and then Tim goes hunting. He tries to break through the police protection
fake news.
To get to her. He's trying to get to her to kill her, and that's when the police take him down. And then we get the goats to kill her is locked away.
Don't act like you wouldn't love that. I'm sure our numbers would spike.
Oh, sure, but
arrested for murder.
I feel like the new episodes might not happen as frequently.
True.
Because you're going to be in
This is the
jail.
downside.
I like the idea though that we're going to still do the show, but there'll be like jail bars on your side of the camera, just like.
The sad thing is like you probably wouldn't even take a week off. You'd have a little addendum at the end of the show, like, oh, by the way, you probably noticed that one of our regulars isn't here.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm just sit here and talk about horror movies myself.
You just have your cat in the other screen.
Hey, I feel like me talking to my cat would probably do numbers. I feel like that would be a hit.
No one the internet probably would.
Yeah, it probably would be. I'm like, hey cat, what did you think of The Boy? Well, that was a negative meow. So Tim, of course, has been proven wrong yet again by a cat.
Sounded positive, but no.
You're not going to see it, Tim, because you're going to be in jail.
I feel like do they get computers in jail now?
They probably do. I feel like movies always like to show you it's just this dim grey thing where they've got nothing in the cell, but I feel like actual jails are a bit more homely.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure they're not great.
It
prefer not to go there.
It depends where you are, what country, what state even, but I don't think it's always the depressing just metal bars that you see in a lot of movies and shows. Like I've heard otherwise from my contacts.
Okay.
People have done time. I think we're done, Tim. This is maybe the most off-topic episode of this show we've ever done. So I apologise for that. Hopefully it's not turned you off the show. Hopefully you got some amusement out of this. There we go. That is us. So, like and subscribe if for some reason you want to after that episode. If you want to support us, again, for some reason after this episode, head over to patreon.com/MailFuzzTV. You can support the show, the channel there. You can, of course, we've got the crypt that we mentioned where patrons can suggest movies that go on the giant to-do list that we'll get to one from time to time. Maybe put them in votes and that kind of thing. You got the monthly voting. There's the other tier with the audio commentary tracks. Me and Tim did The Room just this past week. And you can check out that. But all these things. So fun stuff. Otherwise though, that is us. So thank you once again for watching and or listening. It helps us out a lot. Get us I said all that stuff already. Yeah, thanks very much guys. Keep watching the horror movies. We'll see you next time. Goodbye.